I got to tell you, I feel more and more uncomfortable with as time goes on with the word ego. It's almost necessary to use it because it's such a common word for speaking about something that's very common in the human experience. But the problem with the word ego is when we talk about your ego or someone else's ego, the word implies that there's actually something inside of someone called an ego, that it's somehow a distinct something. And this almost seems to be assumed in the language we use. But I think it's very, very important that part of looking within, in fact, the thing that you first see often when you look within, is you see what is referred to often in spiritual teachings as ego. Ego really isn't a thing. There's not a thing there. When the whole notion of ego was invented, it wasn't, the universe wasn't created with the idea of an ego. Human beings invented the idea. Someone sort of sitting around and wanting to talk about a particular part of their experience, a part which is usually the sort of fusing of emotion and thought. In a very sort of almost mechanical, conditioned way. And one of the words that they came up to describe that process, which it really is sort of a process, it's a verb, Ego is a verb. It's not a thing. It's not a noun. There's no such thing as ego as a noun. There's only ego as a process. Almost like the wind. The wind is a process, clouds floating through the sky, their movement is a process. So ego is sort of a process, a conditioned movement of mind. It's not a thing. And you don't have to take anybody's word for that. You can, at any moment, you can go look for your ego as a noun, as something, as someone distinct. And when you look for your ego as a noun, it's not there. It's just there as a process. Thought here, a thought there, a feeling, a reaction, mostly a conditioned reaction, a desire, wanting, avoiding, happy, afraid, all these it's sort of a volatile cocktail of thought, feeling, and emotion, all of which is conditioned, biologically conditioned, culturally conditioned, conditioned through the family of origin. And then as you grow up, you start conditioning your own ego by what you learn, what you read, what you hear, what you choose to believe in, the groups you choose to associate with, to identify with. You start creating your own sort of ego. But it's really important, I think, to understand that it's just a process. It's a verb. That's when I say it's a process, that's what I mean. It's a verb. It's a movement. When you go to bed at night, the movement of ego stops when you go to sleep. When you're asleep, there's no ego. If ego was a thing, or if it was a noun, if it was something, then it would still be there. But it completely disappears, not only when you go to sleep, but your ego disappears at various moments during the day, when your mind is quiet or distracted, or you're doing something that occupies your attention to such an extent that your attention isn't focused on the conditioned movement of reactive mind and thought and feeling. At that moment, the movement isn't there. Right? The conditions, however, are there for that movement to come into being, right? To start moving. When that potential starts to move, that's ego. So, and it's that movement, that verb, that we're all taught to identify with. So the thoughts that are quickly moving through your mind, the thoughts that are quickly moving through your mind right now, this moment, and this evening, we're taught that those thoughts tell us who we are, that those thoughts are relevant in describing us, that we are also taught that what we feel, we are. We are, in many ways, what we feel. We are what we remember. Our memory is a process as well. It's a movement. And all this is sort of taught as we grow up. And it forms a kind of perspective. It puts a lens over consciousness, almost like a lattice work through which consciousness peers through or sees through. You know, in the ancient Greek theater, the word persona really means to sing through or to talk through. And in the ancient Greek theater, the actors would wear masks. And the idea was they would talk through or sing through the persona, sing through the mask that they were wearing. Their mask was to take on a character that they were going to give voice to and give life to. And and I think the original meaning of some of these words we lose, you know, that words like persona or ego are very much really like a mask. It's something that we look through, we peer through. Consciousness peers through the ego. And it colors the way the ego sees everything. It colors how the ego interprets life.